We live.
Okay, Shalom. Giving all praises to Yahweh.
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Akakwadash.
Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders. And once again, we are on the highways and the byways on a Saturday, the day of the world, to prophesy the destruction and help bring forth the destruction of America. And we're going to get into how the 2/3 of you Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans are going to go down with America. Because your father's of the devil. Your father is Esau, the physical counterpart of the spiritual demon Satan. Like you got a spiritual counterpart of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Bashim, the Heavenly Father do his son, Yahweh Bashim, Yahweh, and Yahweh Shah. The spiritual counterparts are the elect of the sons of Israel. Then you got the spiritual demon and its physical counterparts, which is Esau and Satan, the so-called white man. So we're going to get into some scriptures, and we're going to bring out some scriptures, you know what I'm saying?
This is Isaiah chapter 51, verse 20, and it says, "Thy sons have fainted. They lie at the head of all the streets."
And that's Jake right now. You go into these different neighborhoods, you're going to see these Jakes hanging out in front of Arab store. That's hanging out, man. Sipping on them, drinking a beer, smoking some weed, hustling, doing their thing, man. But, read.
Says, "As a wild bull in a net."
But they're like wild bulls in the net, man. Because they quick to shed blood. They're out there doing mischief. They won't hesitate to sleep with another man's wife. Here it is. You know she's married, but you always, every time you see her, you trying to come on to her, you trying to get with her. She's ignoring you, but she buy weed from you because you a fucking weed dealer. And I peeping this shit. Every time I go to the store, I peep this shit. I'm like, this nigga's a demon, man. But it is what it is, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is, man. It ain't my business, you know? But now you in the spirit world, nigga. Yeah, bro.
It says, "They are full of fury of the Lord, the rebuke of thy power."
They're full of the fear of the Lord because the fear of the Lord is upon them because they out there committing all kind of wickedness. They're gang banging, committing adultery, you know, being a witch by selling drugs, altering the mind of people out there by using them because they buying your drugs and using them. So you are full of the fear of the Lord, man. And the judgment's gonna come upon you sooner or later. Because the Lord is long suffering. So he would have it whereas you would run across the Hebrew Israelites, and if you start talking shit against them, because the Hebrew Israelites started the apostles, they are the prophets of the Lord, and they are the spokesmen, the ambassadors to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah. So if you come up against them and start talking shit, now you don't sound your death. Yeah.
It says, "Therefore, hear now this, thou afflicted."
And you afflicted because you are suffering. Because we are under the curses. But you don't know we under the curses. So you out there doing what you can do to hustle and drive and grind and affect other people by selling drugs, committing adultery, gang banging, drill music, that culture of death. Yeah, bro.
It says, "And drunken, but not with wine."
The philosophies of Esau also, like I stated a second ago, drill music, that culture of death that you indulge yourself in. And part of that culture of death is sleeping with another man's wife, gang banging, doing that which is evil in the eyes of the Most High, man. And you're used to doing that, and that's what you do. So that's how you are drunken. And many of the philosophies that democracy that Esau is pushing, because you wholeheartedly are into them things, and you would go to church, and you don't commit all kinds of sins throughout the weekend. On Sunday, the day of the sun worship, you would go to church thinking you serving the Lord, but you're serving the goddamn deity that goes back to Serapis Christus with a mortem on the top of his head, man. But they took the mortem off and made him Chesapeake bullshit. Yeah, bro. Got more? So yeah, but when you go into that, wild bulls in the net, the Lord got a special purpose for you niggas, man. The Lord got a special death for you niggas, man. What do you got right here? Actual homes?
Ezekiel 21:9.
What you got like that? Okay. Because the Lord appointed 4 kinds of deaths. So when you go to Jeremiah 15, it's going to tell you how the Lord appointed 4 causes of death for you wicked ass niggas, man. You 2 dirty niggas, man.
This is Jeremiah chapter 15, verse 1. Then said the Lord unto me, though Moses and Samuel stood before me, yet my mind could not be toward this people.
Now Moses represent the law, and Samuel represent the prophets, man. But the Lord saying, though Moses and Samuel stood before me for you, my mind can't be towards you people, man. You're totally going and bugged up. You're wicked, man. You know? Even though I was a husband unto you, man. Yeah, bro.
It says, could not be towards this people, cast them out of my sight, and let them go forth.
And that happened during the time of 70 AD, during the time of the Flavian dynasty, Vespasian, Titus, and Domitian, man. Father and son duels. The Flavian dynasty the southern tribes, Judah, Benjamin, Levi, got their ass handed to them, and they were dispersed at the 4 corners of the earth. That's why we were scattered. That's why we in different lands to this every day, taking on the custody of these different nations, man.
It says, and it shall come to pass, if they say unto thee, whither shall we go forth? Then thou shalt tell them, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, such as for death to death.
And that's what's waiting for the 2/3 of you Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Case in point, some nigga that I know in a neighborhood that I'm familiar with, I ain't gonna say no locations, I ain't gonna say no names. This nigga was an emotional wreck, man. He was fueled by emotions because he was raised by his mother. He didn't have a father in the household where he could take accountability and deal with logic. So he had that feminine spirit on him, and he was always, about resolving issues, not by negotiating and talking, but by using his fist. Like he was the nicest man in the world. Yeah, bro.
Since you said that, this is the book of Job, chapter 14, verse 1. Man that is born of a woman is a few days and full of trouble.
A man that's born of a woman is a few days and full of trouble. But you're going to be, if you don't have a father figure in your life, a man that's born of a woman is a few days, you're going to have a short life, and you're going to be full of trouble.
That's why only ones that's not is the ones that's reborn, a new creature. When you kill an old man and you're a new man.
Now, you could be born in a single parenthood, right? But you could be a part of the elect, and the Most High will bring you out of that emotional, simple-minded thinking, man. When you're not thinking with logic, you start thinking with logic, and now you're using your head instead of dealing with your emotions. That's gonna get you in trouble. There's only 2 things are gonna come out of being emotional: you going to jail, or you being deleted,
Or being fired.
or being fired, or whatever the case may be, man. Yeah, bro.
And you gotta use logic. Logic means
Good.
logos. It goes back to the word logos, which means reason. It means reasoning.
That's right. You gotta reason with yourself. Yeah, bro.
Right. It says, thus saith the Lord, such as for death to death, and such as for the sword to the sword.
And that's what's coming, man. When you go to Ezekiel, go that real quick, get that Ezekiel 21 and verse 9 on down to 12, because the Lord is allowing Esau to sharpen that sword, man.
Got you.
We're gonna go back to that. I just want to make this point.
Yep, this is Ezekiel 21 and 9. Son of man, prophesy and say, thus saith the Lord.
That's we out here doing. We out here prophesying. We telling you what's coming, man. We telling you that death and destruction is coming. Yeah, bro.
Say a sword is sharpened and also furbished. It is sharpened to make a sore slaughter.
And that's Esau, man. Esau is sharpening that sword. How he's sharpening that sword? In these mountainous regions, the National Guard, these militias, they practicing. And when you see these old Western movies, they had like Gadites and pregnant women, and they shooting them. But Alex Jones, like about 2009, 2010, had a video showing how they was in the rural areas, and it was black men and black women, and Hispanic women and Indian men that they was talking. You know them little images that they
I remember.
that
Yeah.
pops up and they shooting them. You know what I'm saying? It would have an image of a black man or an Indian or a black woman, and
It's like when
it will-
agents are
it
practicing
will pop
law
up.
enforcement.
They would shoot, boom, 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 the great area. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't no. You didn't see no Edomite targets. It was only Israelite targets, man. Showing that they sharpen their swords, man, to make the sword slaughter again, man.
Yeah. It is sharpened to make a sword slaughter. It is furbished that it may glitter. Should we then make mirth?
We not in the time of celebrating none of these pagan festivals. Now the next pagan festival is coming up is Mother's Day. If you know the origins of Mother's Day, you wouldn't even worship that shit, man. It goes back to the 1800s. Some women, you know, try to get some rights and shit. You know what I'm saying? And for a child, get a child back. She was considered the mother of the year. So they gave her a holiday called Mother's Day. Look it up, man. I'm not lying. Look it up, man. Look it up. Yeah, bro.
It contemneth the rod of my son as every tree. Keep going.
Yeah.
And he hath given it to be furbished, that it may be handled. This sword is sharpened, and it is furbished to give it into the hand of the slayer.
Who's the slayer, man? Esau Edom, man. Why do you think King David said in Psalm 17, verse 13, deliver me from the wicked, which is thy sword, from into this world, which is thy hand? Because Esau is the Most High's whipping on the left-hand side, man. So you gotta understand that shit, man. So these jerks out here talking shit, getting themselves into all kind of quarrels that can be squashed easily, but they too emotional to see that, I mean, you done up with nothing. You know? Let them finish that real quick. Can you bring that question up? Yeah, bring that question up.
It searches for the sword to the sword, and searches for famine to the famine.
A lot of you people gonna die from the famine because you've seen these shelves right now. Look at these grocery stores. Because of these tariffs, a lot of the grocery stores, they shelves are empty. They show you that on TikTok, they show you that on all social media parts. I'm saying X, they show you on Instagram. A lot of these stores,
The one over there.
they
Shade.
no, right there, the shade I was saying.
Oh yeah, that's true. This is tradition for the rain.
They shelves are empty, man. So here it is. Now people gonna start feeling the crunch, man, because we approaching a time where them tariffs are gonna take effect, and everybody gonna feel that crunch, man. You know, Donald Trump is that man that's gonna bring forth, that's gonna have the economy collapse. He's gonna institute the offer the microchip. I can see it, man. I mean, I hope I'm not wrong. I'm hoping Donald Trump is that man that's gonna do that, man. Because we need to be out of this bitch. Yeah, bro.
This is
It's more?
Yeah. It says, and it searches for famine to the famine, and searches for the captivity to the captivity.
A lot of you gonna get snatched up towards head first into them concentration camps, man. And to tell you that, in Second Ezra, the 16th chapter, being idle, you know, you got it?
we almost talking.
It says, being idle, open up onto idols, you know what I'm saying? Get that real quick, you know what I mean? Because that's what's happening, man. I'm saying that's what's going to happen, man. You're going to get snatched up, you're going to be idle, and you're going to be offered things unto, you know, that's given unto idols, man. Roughly paraphrasing, but we're going to get it real quick. And offer things up to idols is that offer the microchip. And that's going to be the new system. In order for you to get out of this situation you're in, you got to comply to the new system. The old dollar, the dollar that you knew, that you once had in your pocket, paper currency, is done away with. Now we come up with we have a new system. And it requires you to get this piece of equipment that's smaller than a grain of rice into your right hand or on your forehead or on your left hand or wherever you want it at. And that's gonna, you know, be the way of the new system. Everything you own, you got a clean slate. You don't have no debt no more. You don't owe no student loans. If you got a car note that you didn't pay, that you was in a rent, all that's taken care of. You got a new slate. You don't think people are gonna take that deal? Am I lying, bro? You don't think people are gonna take that deal, bro?
Yeah, the scripture say most people are gonna take the chip anyway.
Cut. So bring that real quick. Yeah.
This is 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse 68. It says, "For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you."
And that burning wrath of that great multitude is Esau's military. Starting with the Gurkha troops, Interpol, the UN troops, the National Guards, Esau's military, man. Not only Esau's military of America, but Interpol. It's just of different militaries. A conglomerate of different militaries that's coming together to quell violence, man.
says, and they shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols.
And what's it gonna? How that's gonna take place? Snatch you out of your house. Snatch you out of your house. Put you in cuffs. But when they kick your door in, they may see a beautiful woman. What do you think the military personnel is gonna do, man? There's gonna be a lot of raping going on, a lot of pillaging, a lot of things happening, man.
And they vow they're gonna pass them around because that's how
And
they get down.
some of these Edomites, they're like men. So you may get popped. That's how Esau get down, man. So read that again real quick.
Yep. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse 68. It says, for behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols.
Being in them concentration camps, locked up, and they're gonna give you ultimatum. If you want to be a part of this new system, you want out of this hellhole you in, take this right here shit. Yeah, bro.
It says, and they that consent unto them shall be had in derision.
And when you take that chip and consent unto what they're saying, just to save your soul for a season, you're gonna be in derision because Esau is gonna, the Most High is gonna, first of all, Esau.
I want to move in the shape.
Yeah, over there, yeah, cut it.
Yeah, but
Yes.
you gotta go to the gym, man. Fuck all that.
We're in a time where it's gonna be those troops. They're gonna go haywire because it's not gonna be any law. We still on, right?
Yeah.
And then also it's gonna be cannibalism going on. I got a scripture when y'all done. Oh, Shalom, huh? That's what's up.
Back to what we were saying, you know, when you go back into slacking for that, we have to move. You know, coming to the shade, we got the sun that's beaming on us. Really
Hey, what's still on there?
Verse 69. Yeah, this is 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse 69. It says, and they that consent unto them shall be had in derision.
And they that can sit into this government to take that chip should be had them in derision, man. Because what's going to happen is you're going to save your soul to be a part of this system, but when Yahweh Shah crack them skies, bringing death, destruction, and deliverance, you're going to get caught up, man. You're going to be missile food. Or you may not even make it to that point. You may die in a famine, like the Most High pointed 4 kinds of death. Bubba Red, man. In Jeremiah 1 and 15. On down.
Verse 3, I'm going to read it.
Okay, cut it.
It says, and in reproach and trodden underfoot.
Or just open it wider.
Nah, it's laid down.
Okay.
So
It says, yeah, that was it.
you go down something there. You can bring that up, you know what I'm saying? So we can get to the point here.
Jeremiah 15:3, and I will appoint over them 4 kinds, saith the Lord, the sword to slay, and the dogs to tear, and the fowls of heaven, and the beasts of the earth to devour and destroy.
And it tell you in the book of Sirach, chapter 39, verse 28, there should be spirits created for vengeance. He mentions teeth of wild beasts. So the dogs definitely going to tear. These zoo animals definitely going to have get their pound of flesh off you Negroes, especially the Americans, and the rest of you people out here in America, man, within that time, man. And it shows you that in that movie, Leonardo DiCaprio, Gangs of New York, in the 1800s, how when it was riots in the street, the zoo animals running rampant in the streets. Watch that movie, Gangs of New York. You're going to see
That's a good movie.
running rampant in the street, man. Trampling people, biting people, doing crazy shit, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, bro. That was it? Let's bring us the scripture.
All right, I got it. This is Leviticus 26 and 29. And ye shall eat the flesh of your sons, and the flesh of your daughters shall ye eat.
And that happened in the time of the season of Sodom, during the time of the Flavian dynasty. during the time of 70 AD. The last stronghold was the siege of Masada, and what happened was they closed off, and I tell you that in the book of Deuteronomy. We said Deuteronomy 28, verse 45 of the day. I think it is that. But it tell you that in the book of Deuteronomy how they besieged Jerusalem and cut Jerusalem off, whereas no one could get in, no one could go out. So, and then they put up strongholds around it. And what happened was, once that food was devoured and eaten, they started eating the leaves of the trees, boiling their belt buckles, eating their belt buckles. Then they started resorting to eating their children, which is cannibalism.
That was that story where the two women conspired to eat their children.
No, that was a different time. That was in the time of the Book of Kings. That was a different time. Because there was different times where we suffered, famine, whereas it was cannibalism going on. But this cannibalism I'm talking about is talking about during the time of the siege, during the time of the Flavian dynasty, during the time of 70 AD. Yeah, bro.
This is Deuteronomy 28, verse 53. And it says, and thou shalt eat the fruit of thy own body.
We can go up, I'm saying. See if we can go up.
That's where it starts.
Oh, no.
Oh, 63 to 57.
I mean, we can start at 52, technically. All right, we can start. It says, Deuteronomy 28, verse 52. It says, and he shall besiege thee in all thy gates.
Who was he? The Romans. Who were the Romans? Started with, and then you had a Jake. That was the general. Julius, what's his name again? Julius? No. The general that was Tiberius Julius Alexander. You know what I'm saying? That was a general under, the Flavian. I'm saying, I think it was Titus, but Titus got the credit for it. It was a Jake that sustained his people, man. That helped them destroy our people. Read that again.
Yep. Deuteronomy 28, verse 52. And it says, and he shall besiege thee in all thy gates.
Talking about the Romans.
It says, until thy high and fenced walls come down.
Because the season Masada, that was the last stronghold of Jake. And it was a big fenced wall. So they pride themselves, they all went in and they pride themselves, but they was besieged all around. And they kept on, assaulting the walls of that region of Masada until it fell. Then they went in and did what they did. Yeah, bro.
It says, wherein thou trustedest.
They trusted in that high tower because it was so strong that they built it, so they felt that, all right, they lasted for a while. That's why they resort to cannibalism, because they was in there in the straits for a long time. All their resources ran out. They started plucking the leaves of the trees, making soup out of the leaves of the trees. Then they started, they belt buckles, they shoelaces, they fucking wallets, whatever they had that they boiled and tried to deem edible. And then the last resort was, we're going to get to that. Yeah, bro.
It says, throughout all thy land, and he shall besiege thee in all thy gates, throughout all thy land, which the Lord thy power hath given thee, and thou shalt eat the fruit of thy own body, the flesh of thy sons and thy daughters.
Which is cannibalism, which is the part of the curses, man. You see, you can't escape the judgment of the Lord, man. And the reason why that happened, because, hey, how much y'all prophesied that happening before, they happened like about, I think 33 years or 40 years after him being crucified. It happened, man. He prophesied of it, man. See, people say, oh, Jerusalem. He prophesied over there. I'm saying, but guess what? He said, flee to the mountains. Only the elect men at that time fled and took heed to what Yahweh was saying, but the rest got taken. And to tell you in the book of Sirach, chapter 5, verse 1, many going to be taken in a great number. It happened back then, and it's going to happen again.
You know what aided you in that was the Sakari, the Dagomen.
Yeah, the Dagomen, yeah.
Because the people didn't want to fight, so they was trying to force them to fight. So you know what
they
burned the food.
They burned the food.
They burned the food to try to force the people to fight.
So they burned the food and helped cripple the men that was held in protection, but in the season of Masada, And them Dagomen, if you don't want to fight, they would stab you in your back, man. So they was helping. And then you had Edomites at the same time helping Jake too. During that time, man. Because during the time of the Hasmonean dynasty, you had a lot of, during the time of John Hyrcanus, he converted a lot of Edomites. So they took on the laws. You gotta understand. In order for you to understand this history, understand the mystery, you gotta understand the history that happened, man, that took place, man. You had an individual from the Hasmonean dynasty, which they was called the Maccabees, called John Hyrcanus. You had John Hyrcanus 1 and John Hyrcanus 2. John Hyrcanus 2 was a goddamn puppet for Antipater, man. The Edomite, which was Herod's father.
That's why you need sons, bro. Because that nigga line married into the
Yep.
Maccabean line.
Married to Antipater line, man.
Yeah, because
Herod-
he had a daughter, Miriam, and she married an Edomite.
Yep.
That's why you need the sons, bro. The son is the one that continues the line.
Exactly.
And out of that ceremony came the Herodians.
Yep, the Herodians.
Who thought they were Israelites.
Yeah, but they looked like Israelites. They knew they were Israelites.
No, they thought they were Jake, man, because you know what? This guy Herod said he was the king of the Jews.
Yeah.
He was a Jew.
He was dark skinned. He was a
He's
goddamn.
and that's what these so-called Jews go by today. They go by their moms. But that's not how you determine somebody's lineage. Somebody's lineage is determined by their father.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You know, damn what you do, damn what you don't. We was over there, the sun was beaming on us, and we come over here, the wind is blowing crazy.
I'll take the wind over that. How that
I took the
sound.
wind over the hill, yeah. You got more?
Lamentations 4:15. The hands of the pitiful woman have sodden their own children.
Yeah. The hands of the pitiful woman has sided their own. That word sided goes back to the word boil.
Boil
You boiled them, you cut them up, and started boiling them to make soup. And that was happening because they result of cannibalism. That was a part of the curses, man. Hey, the Most High is dreadful.
Wow, bro.
And the Lord is cruel, man.
They show you how crazy people get when they're backed against the wall.
Yeah.
Starvation fucks with your mind. When your body starts eating itself, you start going delusional. You have people like, remember them Looney Tunes cartoons, Daffy Duck is in the desert, dives into a water, turns out to be sand. Because your mind goes.
Also, even when they was on you had these two Edomites, they was floating on a raft, right? And then they ran across Bugs Bunny. And they was like, fool, we ain't gonna have roast rabbit. But before that, he would look, he would see his boy, right? His boy leg was a Frankfurter, on a Frank
Yeah,
bun.
the head looked like a chicken.
Yeah, yo. So they was like, hallucinating, man. 'Cause they was hungry.
Did you hear that story about those people that was trapped up in Mount Everest and one of them ate somebody's leg or some shit like that to survive?
Oh, yeah, and they came down there like, I don't want to talk about it.
Alive.
I don't know.
And they made a movie. And they made
Alive.
yeah, it's a movie. And they made a movie
And they
about
made
that.
a part 2, another
It's called a
Alive.
movie it's called Alive.
And they made it again.
What's that movie, bro?
Yeah, but I'm talking about it was a real shit that happened.
Yeah, but
though.
it was based upon that movie. It's based upon that true story. It's called Alive.
Didn't they also have like a different one about like a group of kids that was traveling? I don't know if it was I don't know if it was England or some other country.
Team or
The
something.
rugby
Yeah,
team,
that's
and then they
Alive.
It's called Alive.
that shit was
They
crazy.
made another one.
And then
That
you had
shit was
another
crazy.
movie called Lord of the Flies, going back to the 50s, when these kids was stranded on an island. But in the book, they went into cannibalism. But in the movie, they just killed each other, you know what I mean?
Different stages of starvation.
Anyways, it says, the hands of their pitiful, Lamentations 4, and it's actually 4 and 10. I said 15, 4 and 10. The hands of the pitiful woman have sodden their own children.
It has gone back to the siege of Masada during the time of the Flavian dynasty. Also during the time of the Book of Kings when this woman deceived the other woman into cooking her, into slaying her kid. She hit her kid, and then they went to the king, and then the king made a decree. All right, so we're gonna split the baby in half. And the lady was like, nah, give her the baby. So he said, no, look, this is her kid. So yeah, bro.
It says, it's about here. It says, the hands of the pitiful woman have sodden their own children. They were their meat in the destruction of the daughter of my people.
Yeah, during the time of the season of Masada, they was the meat that fueled the people to keep them going. Because the Romans, they was relentless, man, but they did. They built them high towers, them high walls, and they kept on assaulting the walls until it fell. And then once it fell, those that escaped, they escaped. Those that didn't escape, they went into captivity. And that's where you get the gladiators from. A lot of them Roman gladiators, a lot of them gladiators, Israelite slaves that was put into captivity by the Romans. It was made to make sport for the emperors. So in order for you, like I said, in order for you to understand this mystery, you have to understand the mystery. Not only is the Bible a book of history of our people, but it's a book dealing with prophecies, lamentations, woe, and secular history. You have to understand the secular history, and you will get it, man. Yeah, bro.
This is from the commentary on Lamentations 4 and 10. This is John Gill, and this is the part where it says they were meat in the destruction of the daughter of my people. So the commentary reads, at the time of the destruction of Jerusalem, this strange and unnatural action was foretold by Moses, Deuteronomy 28:56, which you brought out earlier. And though we have no particular instance of it on record as done in the siege of Jerusalem by the Chaldeans, yet no doubt there was, as may be concluded from the words, at the siege of it by the Romans. When many things here spoken of had a full accomplishment, we have a remarkable instance of it which Josephus relates. An illustrious woman named Mary, pressed with the famine, slew her own son, a second child, boiled him, and ate part of him, and laid up the rest, which was
For the
found,
next day.
which was found by the seditious party that broke into her house, which struck them with a uttermost horror.
The sedition party was the Roman soldiers, man, that came in, and they had broke down the doors of, they had broke down the towers of Masada, so they was going in besieging everybody in their houses, man. That was left the remnant that was left and held up in the siege, and they discovered some horrific things. And Josephus, which was a sellout, he was writing everything down, man. Writing everything down, taking account for what was going on, man. So here it is. These days and times, all them people back then that was in that siege, guess what? They here to this day. They here right now.
They fucking
But in different bodies,
ground,
man.
bro.
Yeah, they stumped Jews into the ground.
They should have listened to that nigga Josephus, because he was telling them, look, just surrender. But they wanted to keep fighting. Sakari wanted to keep fighting.
Because
and all that shit led to more dead bodies.
exactly because Josephus was a
Lord told you
sellout,
to broke
man.
out, bro. The Lord told you to broke out. Because I remember, well, I don't kind of remember, but the
You
Lord,
was there, bro.
So the Lord told the disciples, alright, so they came to the Lord and was like, yo, Lord, look at this marvelous temple, like so nice. Going to the historical records of it, a very nice temple, all white, all that good stuff. The Lord told him, like, look, you see all this shit right here? It's gonna be dust, it's gonna be trampled overfoot, it's gonna be nothing. So the Lord already knew what was gonna take place, man.
He prophesied to them, and those that took heed, they fled to the mountains, man. They escaped. But those who did, they got taken, man. Because contrary to what a lot of people believe, only the elect men, the men that during the time of Yahushua, the generation when Yahushua was on earth, they back here right now.
You gotta remember too, our people back then had the name, but they were like, we're just gonna call on the name Yahweh Bashem Yahweh delivered.
That ain't happening.
But sometimes the Lord don't want us to be delivered. Sometimes the Lord wants us to be destroyed. And the prophets will tell you that. You know, so Jeremiah did that, they ain't listening to him.
Ezekiel did it, they ain't listening to him.
They did it, like, because he was telling them, look, we surrendered to the Babylonians. Now the Lord's with us. They can't fuck with us. We got Yahweh Bashem Yahweh. The Lord wasn't with y'all niggas. You know what I'm saying? The Lord wanted us.
And it was Hananiah, a false prophet, that was coming up against Jeremiah. And what happened? Jeremiah prophesied his death, and guess what? He died.
So when them Romans was coming, without doubt in my mind, I'm sure you had a lot of people thinking that, well, the Lord's going to get us out of it somehow. But Yahushua had already told them, when the Romans come, break out, bro.
Flee to the mountains, man. But they didn't. Only the elect of that generation believed in Yahushua and fled, man. And got the hell out of there, man. The 2/3, the same way it's going to happen now. But only in the body, Yahushua going to crack them skies and deliver his elect.
There
And
was
the
no way
2/3 and the 2/3 is going to remain and get taken in that great number, pursuant to 2 Ezra 5 and 1.
And there was no way to escape captivity because once I fled to Africa eventually,
They got put into slavery.
got put in slavery.
Yeah, a lot of them got put in them gladiatorial arenas. You can watch.
I mentioned that.
Those about to die. That's going into the Flavian dynasty with Titus, Domitian, and Vespasian. You know what I mean?
It was Vespasian, Domitian, and Titus. He was the last one, Titus.
Yeah. And
you know, Vespasian, you know, he passed before his 2 sons and showed them that he wanted to be made like a deity or something. But they was bragging about, Titus was bragging that he basically took down Jerusalem.
They had that coin,
and they all that money they had in their treasury.
They built the fucking they took it and they
what's
built
the name was embezzling money, Domitian.
But what they did
They
was
had a coin, Judah Copter.
yeah, cut. And then what they did was, in order for you to understand the fucking history of what happened, you have to understand. Let's say you understand the mystery. You have to understand the history of what happened, man. I'm saying it backwards. Let me say it again. In order for you to understand the history of the mystery of what happened to us, how we became Gentiles, you have to understand the mystery of what took place, man. The history.
Understand the
The
mystery.
history.
Understand the history.
The history that took place, man. When you go into the history, you see that Vespasian, Titus and Vespasian was the head of it. Then his son Domitian took over, and then Titus was the one that so-called took down Jerusalem, but it was head by a general, which was a chick that had to stand for his own people. Julius Tiberius Alexander, if I'm saying it right, we had a lot of Jake inside the Roman military that was top generals. Like to this very day, you got this, the Secretary of Defense, he's a nigga, he's a Jake.
Back in the day.
He was a general,
Yeah, but he was a general.
yeah. But he's dead now, he's in the spirit, in his right state of mind. But you got to understand, Coda Powell died about 4 or 5 years ago. He's dead for a little while. He's in the spirit. But now he's in his right state of mind. He knew he was doing was wicked. And he now when he come back, he can have his head down in the kingdom. Shit. I was worshiping Esau and his deities and his gods and everything, and coming against my own people. Shedding blood, yeah.
It's 2nd Ezra, chapter 15. I'm gonna start at 18. It says, "For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid."
That's what's going to happen. That's what's coming, man. That's what's coming to America. You see what's going on in Europe? The lights is out in Portugal, in Madrid, Spain. You know, that's coming to America, and that's done by design. The international bankers, the elites of this society, allow that to take place, man. Because they have their own agenda, man. They want these different European powers to bend to their will, man. You got more?
It says, "A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of lack of bread and for great tribulation."
That's talking about an Israelite, man. Also, it's about the other nations, man. But a neighbor is talking about a fellow Israelite, man. You know what I mean? Here it is. You didn't have the wherewithal to save some food or to stock up some goods and everything, and you're gonna smell some sweet, savory food cooking next door to you. You may knock on this door, hey man, you get a plate. I got my daughter, I got my family, I got nothing to feed you. Now, 2 days pass by you doing the same thing. The 3rd day, man, I mean, you gotta fend for yourself. Man. I can't afford to feed you or my family. So what they gonna do? What are you gonna do? Grab his gun, take his bread, and take his goods. You know what I'm saying? For the lack of bread, for great tribulation.
Yeah,
That's how they cook. Yeah.
So like in them days, man, cooking would be a dangerous act, man.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a dangerous act, man.
You cook that food, you're gonna smell that sweet, savory food cooking, that fried chicken, that baked fucking, chicken or that smothered lamb or whatever.
Might do that to
cooking.
trap people too, though.
Huh?
The people might do that to trap people too.
Yeah, that's
Break people in and kill them and take all their guns.
Yeah, man, it's crazy, bro.
Yo, you saw Last of Us? I didn't see Last of Us, but there's a cutscene in the video game where the guy's like, help! And the little girl's like, help him, Dad! And the guy was like, he ain't sick, run his ass over.
Yeah, just like in that movie, that movie with Denzel Washington,
Book of Eli?
the Book of Eli. The lady was like, help! He was like, he wanted to help her. He was watching, and it was like a setup. She was with them dudes that was setting people up and taking their shit.
Well, she was acting like she was about to get raped.
Yeah, but she was with them dudes that was acting like they was gonna rape her.
Yeah, but she was in on it, yeah.
And then when they came to help her, they robbed them and took their shit. You know what I mean? And some of them was robbing people and taking them so they could eat them.
That's gonna be crazy.
Look at that movie The Road. Look at that movie The Road when they was setting up people and trapping them and putting them in that basement. They was using the rotisserie to turn them and cook them, man.
Yeah, they said in the book, they had a baby on the rotisserie, but that shit was too much for the movie.
Yeah.
Put it in the movie, but in the book.
Yeah, with the book, it was in the book. Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't know you read the book too.
I didn't read the book, but I heard the differences.
Yeah, I read
It was
the
in the
book.
book. They had a fucking baby.
Books are usually more graphic than the
Listen, bro.
actual.
That's what I said. They had a rotisserie, but they had a baby on the rotisserie. They took the rotisserie.
That means there's nothing left. There's no squirrels. The squirrels are abominable, but I'm just talking about there's nothing left.
They're like rats.
Nothing's left to eat.
What they did
When
was
you eat humans and shit, there's nothing left.
they
bro.
took the baby, right, and put the screw it through the baby's ass and went through their mouth and put it on there. And turn that bitch to fire, slow fire, turn that bitch. You know, juice is dripping. You know, and it was like, fuck it, man. This bitch, we gonna eat this baby. You know what I mean? I'm being real, bro.
This is 2 Kings chapter 6 verse 26.
I mentioned that. He mentioned that, bro.
Yep. The counter brother was mentioning earlier. And as the king of Israel was passing by upon the wall, they cried a woman unto him, saying, "Help my lord, O king."
This was during the time of a sore famine that came upon Jerusalem. See how the Most High punish you? He will bring a sore famine or bring an enemy against you to besiege you round about and put certain Israel to death. But in this case, he used a sore famine to destroy certain amount of people in Israel because they was wicked. Yeah, bro.
And the king of Israel was passing by upon the wall. They cried a woman unto him, saying, help my lord, O king. And he said, if the Lord do not help thee,
How can I help?
whence shall I help thee? Out of the barn floor or out of the winepress? And the king said unto her, what aileth thee? And she answered, this woman said unto me, give thy son that we may eat him today, and we will eat my son tomorrow. And we boiled my son and did eat him.
We boiled my son, so they signed her son, probably with some leaves from the trees because they didn't have no vegetables and everything. Because they was supposed to eat the vegetables. So they brought the leaves of the trees and whatever else they had to make the soup. And they had a good dinner that night, man.
Wow. And I said unto her on the next day, that's crazy that they ate that kid and was hungry the next day.
They should have food for them. They said that baby could have lasted for 2 days, but now they was hungry. They probably fed a lot of people, you know what I mean?
Nah, it was just between them two little greedy bitches, man.
Them two, but I'm just saying they must have been that hungry, you know what I'm saying? But they had seconds and thirds, you know what I mean? It is what it is, bro.
It says, and I said unto her on the next day, give thy son that we may eat him. And she had hid her son.
She hit him. She hit him like, nah. I can see, I kind of supplanted you, lady.
So it might have not been the next day, because the word there is achar, and it means another or other.
So it could have been quite some time.
Because it has following, further, or different. But in English they just put next, so we don't really know for
So
sure.
it could have been a week later because a baby.
Yeah, because I'm like, how you eat a whole child and the next day you like, let's get another one. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of crazy.
So it could have been. It could have took
2 days, baby.
2 days, 3 days.
2 days.
And then now I'm saying, now some of your babies, shit,
Hungry again.
we hungry now.
And that makes more sense because she gave some time for the child to be hid somewhere. It says, and it came to pass when the king heard these words of the woman that he rent his clothes and he passed by upon the wall, and the people looked, and behold, he had sackcloth within upon his flesh.
Sackcloth was a sign of mourning. It was a great heavy time in Israel at that time because it was a sore famine and heavy judgment coming upon Israel because of their wickedness. For their idol worship. See, the Most High gave us ample time to get our shit together when we was in the land, man. Under our control, under our rule. He would send another nation, like the Babylonians. First the Assyrians, the Babylonians, then the Medo-Persians, then the Greeks. So it was every time, and then the time of the book of the Judges, you had the Moabites coming up against us, putting us in slavery, and we had a great beef with the Hamites, man, the Philistines, man. They was oppressing us sore, man. That's who King David had the major beef with the Philistines.
Yeah.
Who was Goliath? He's a Philistine.
I got an article. This is an article from people.com. It was published December 11th, 2024. It says, mom who claims she accidentally put infant in oven instead of crib charged with manslaughter.
Yeah, I read that. I did a show on that. I did a show on that nigga woman.
Yeah. Yep.
She put the. How you gonna mistakenly put your daughter into a fucking oven instead of the crib? You can't tell the difference.
She must have been hungry.
She could say anything as an excuse.
She must have been
She had
hungry.
demons in her, bro.
Isaiah.
Which just goes to show you, there's nothing new under the sun. You had mothers eating their children back then, and they still doing that shit now.
She didn't want to eat her.
Well, yeah,
She just
commit
killed
murder.
her.
Yeah, killing their kids
She
still.
just killed her. That was out of spite. She didn't want the baby. It came out that she didn't want the baby. Then the trial, she got life without parole. She didn't want the baby.
You had that Iscariot bitch that she just went out partying for like a week and just left the child alone.
Yeah.
Fucked up, man.
Yeah. And then you had another nigga woman that went to Puerto Rico and had a good time and left her baby to herself, and the baby was only like about 6 months, 7 months, and she came out, the baby was dead.
The fuck she thought was gonna happen?
And these women, they don't be loving their kids. Like, I had a client, you know, it was a guy, right? But he had a wife. And I walked in one time to go get the dog, to walk the dog. This bitch had the child, the baby, dog cage. You know what I'm saying? Had that motherfucker locked up. I said, oh shit. I act like I ain't even seen nothing. I'm like, oh,
She either my woman or a nigga.
she was like, she could have been a Jake. She could have been a Jake. You know what I mean? No telling what these women be doing behind closed doors with their kids, man.
These people are sick, man. That's why the Lord's gonna come back and destroy this shit, bro.
Yeah, man. You got a lot of sick shit going on in the society, man. And a lot of shit is not being brought forth into the but you have this they have this site called Uncensored. And I ain't downloading it yet, but I'm thinking about downloading it because somebody put me on my job. Uncensored. You see a lot of horrific shit on that site, Uncensored. They showed a lot of shit, man. A lot of crazy shit. A lot of crazy shit is happening. What is that going on over here? That's probably construction. It's construction. Yeah, bro. Back into the money, right?
I got Jeremiah.
Bring it up.
All right, this is Jeremiah chapter 19, verse 9. And it says, and I will cause them to eat the flesh of their sons and the flesh of their daughters, and they shall eat every one the flesh of his friend in the siege and straitness wherewith their enemies, and they that seek their lives shall straighten them.
Yeah, that's straightness means the position of difficulty. That happened during the time of the siege of Masada, and it's going to happen then because there's nothing new under the sun. Who was written before times if I would learn it, it's going to happen again because all them spirits are back now, and they're going to receive their judgment. So everything's going to happen again, man. So we got to understand this, man. You have the elect that's slated to be delivered, and you got the 2/3 that's slated to be destroyed, man, by Rome and Esau and the rest of the nations in the river. And not only is Jake going to suffer the fate of famine, pestilence, which is diseases and things that's going to be detrimental to their health, but also the other nations, the Arabs. A lot of people going to flee. Every man, they tell you in the scriptures, flee every man to his own nation, to his own country. But those who stay, they're going to get caught up. A lot of men going, a lot of people, a lot of these different nations, these Chinese that set up tent over here, these Arabs, these Elamites, these Hamites, they all going to flee. These Ammonites, they all going to flee back to their own country, man, trying to escape the judgments that's going to follow. Then you got migrants coming over here to receive their judgment. Some are coming over to receive judgment, some come over here because they're part of the elect. It's just that simple. It's easy to understand. Yeah, bro.
This is Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 7. It says, Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it.
What day are we talking about? We're talking about the day that the Lord's going to unleash pure hell upon us, which is called Jacob's trouble. Jacob's talking about you Negroes, especially Native Americans, they're going to be in a deep state of trouble, man. Which never took place on this earth, even to this very day, up to the time when the Lord allowed these devils to unleash hell and pain and death. Yeah, bro.
Yep. It says, Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it.
Who's going to be saved out of it? The elect is going to be saved out of it. But the 2/3, pursuant to what Zechariah 13 and 8, you're going to be taken in that number, man. You're going to get fucked up, man. You're going to get your asses handed to you by Esau. Sure, they tell you in Micah chapter 5 to 5 and 7 that Jacob's going to be in the midst of many people. And you're going to be in a race war. It's going to be all kind of hell breaking loose. Jake going to do their thing. But majority are going to die, man. You're going to die. And that's your lot in the society, man. That's your judgment. That's your punishment. Yeah, bro.
This is 2nd Ezra, I'm going to go back to 2nd Ezra, chapter 16, verse 70. It says, For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord.
That great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord is Esau and his military coming down with great wrath. Revelation 12 and 12. Daniel 12 and 1 with that great wrath to destroy those that fear the Lord, man. The only ones that truly fear the Lord are the elect. You have 2/3 that have a zeal of the Lord, but they don't fear the Lord. They fear the Lord through the preachers of men. God loves everybody. So it's really no fear there. It's really, I love the Lord, and I'm loving the Lord is right. You know, it's wrong. I want to be, loving the Lord is wrong. I want to be, some shit they say.
I don't want to be right.
I want to be right.
Or they say, the Lord knows my heart. The Lord knows my heart.
God is good. So somebody say all the time. They be like, God is good. Somebody else be like, all the time.
And then all the time, God is good.
But the Most High is good, but that's also is dreadful and cruel.
Tells you that in Isaiah
It is
chapter
how
45.
it is. Exactly how it is. Show you an example how the cruelty of the Lord. It was an incident. It was the flood. Well, also this way, it was an incident where there was 6 passengers on the plane, right? Now, 2 pilots. No, it was a pilot, 2 doctors, the mother, the daughter, and the father. I think, I believe 6 people all together. Now, the girl that was under the surgery, she survived that life-threatening surgery, right? Just wanted to get on the plane, the Lord delete her on the plane.
I remember that. That's the shit that crashed in the
Yeah. That's the coolness. That's how cool the Lord is. The Lord spared her life and delivered her from that life-threatening surgery she had, only to allow her to get on the plane and get deleted.
Final destination.
Tell me that's not cruelty. That's that cruelty of the Lord, man. That's not cool.
This is Isaiah 45, verse 5. I am the Lord Yahweh, and there is none else. There is no power beside me.
There's no other God, but there's no Allah, there's no Buddha, there's no Jesus. I don't know no fucking Jesus. The Lord and Savior, his name is Yahweh, and his son name is Yahweh Shah, man. That's it, man. Yeah, bro.
I girded thee, though thou hast not known me. Oh, shit. Verse 6. That they may know from the rising of the sun and from the west that there is none beside me. I am the Lord Yahweh, and there is none else.
That's right.
I form the light and create darkness.
That's right. The Lord forms the light, create darkness, make war, make peace.
Goes into it, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Right? I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord Yahweh, do all these things.
So you cannot be delivered from Yahweh Shah by any other false deity, because there is no other deity other than Yahweh Shah, man. People are fucking lost and gone, man. Keep calling upon Jesus. See if Jesus helped you during the time of your family. See if that white man Jesus helped you, man. Keep calling upon that nigga, man. That red bastard. And guess what? Your Jesus is going into slavery. Your Jesus is going into slavery. Understand that. He's going into slavery. Right along with the international bankers. Serapis Chris is going to be there too. Yeah, bro.
I was going to say, just to further add that these people have no understanding that the Lord creates evil. It could be a nice, I got it, it's all good. It could be a nice, sunny, day, nice day for a picnic. You out with your family. You got your twin little, cute little babies that's like 2 years old, running around, just laughing. Somebody just walking by, boom, just shooting up, whatever. And the kids are the only ones to get shot. The Lord did that.
Case in point, look what happened on a Tuesday morning of September 11th, 2001. Everything was glorious and good.
Such a nice day.
Now, Monday, September 10th, 2001, everybody that was working in that place that was slated for destruction, that was going to be put to death, to put their spit on them to do that, to go to where they have to go. Nobody anticipated the next day, even when when September 11th came, Tuesday morning, I remember that day perfectly. I was 27 when that shit happened. I remember that shit perfectly.
I was in school.
I remember that shit. Here it is. Everybody, it's a nice sunny day. Everybody doing their thing. You have women preparing to go to movies or going to a date or do whatever they're going to do. Men doing the same thing. Not knowing that you entered this building. This is going to be your last day on earth, man.
Even just being like around the area.
And people, everything is a nice day. It's a beautiful day. I remember that day like it was yesterday. It was a clear day, sunny sky, nice.
September is usually nice out in September.
It was a nice day. Nice little cool it was hot, but it was a nice little cool breeze that would sometimes come by. Because it was approaching the fall months, you know what I'm saying? But it was still nice and hot, and the weather was nice and right. And guess what happened? Around 10 o'clock, around 9:30, 10 o'clock, all hell broke loose. Yep. So at any given time, something could happen. And that right there, incident changed the whole world, man. To the time we'll be in right now, man.
So I Googled what was the weather on 9/11.
It was nice.
It says it was a crisp and clear and high pressure moved in. There was no weather issues for planes leaving the airports that morning.
It was a nice. Did I tell you the temperature? It was nice. It was nice weather, air blowing.
75 degrees.
Probably almost 80. I remember that day because the sun was out. We had a cool breeze.
Yo, bro, I remember being in class, fucking Edomite teacher running. They hit us. I'm like, yo.
It says
woman.
It was a man.
He said it hit us.
Yeah.
it was 81 degrees outside.
I'm telling you, look at that. Nice day,
I
perfect
didn't know
day.
what the fuck was going on. I started over, so the smoke all the way in my head. I was like, shit.
There was half a day trying to go home. I said, shit, half a day? I'm out.
And then, not only that, they hit Manhattan, and they hit Pennsylvania, and they hit Washington. So it was like they had this shit, but it was ESO doing that shit, man.
Yeah, and when you hear the fight logs, the nigga that took the I forgot his name, but he was just telling people, calm down, don't do anything stupid and shit like that. They should have bum rushed that shit and killed that nigga.
Yeah. And then they were saying, stay in your seats, stay in your
that's what
cubicles,
he If I pull up his name, you can hear it on Wikipedia.
in the World Trade Center, they was like, yo, stay in the place, don't go nowhere, man. I'm like, man, fuck yo, I'm out.
He didn't
man.
told them to go back in the second building after the first one got hit, right?
And they went back like idiots, man. They were stupid. You know why they did? Because they was the most I put to split them to do that because the most I put them to be deleted.
You're right.
Fuck mine to do that shit, man. I'm out.
That was it, yeah.
That's it. Bring it up.
Jeremiah 30:7. The last. Oh, you did?
Really? It's a spray. He didn't spray
Got
that.
something.
Okay, bring this out.
This is. Alright, this is Hebrews 10 and 31. Hebrews 10 and 31. It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living power.
It's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of living power. Hey, you could be walking down the street and cross the street and get hit by a car, bro. Or you could be on the highway chilling and lose control of your car and run into a goddamn tractor truck. Dead. Or you could be in your fucking bathroom taking a shower, slip, you know, sometimes the tub be slippery, and hit your head and die.
Or what's happened a lot of times, people been in their house just chilling and get hit by a stray bullet.
Well, what about instantaneous combustion?
Yeah. Or you just get off, you just burst into flames. Spontaneous combustion. That's what it is.
Yeah, spontaneous.
That's some wild shit to happen.
About that is a cold don't burn. It's a body.
Damn.
That's some crazy shit the Lord be doing.
Or you can be twerking on top of a Jeep and pull off and a fire truck hit you.
Like the 18-year-old chick. Like the 18-year-old chick.
What?
And everybody saying, yo, listen, yeah, man, to me personally, man, you play stupid games, you win a stupid prize. Now, what made her get on that Jeep, drinking, on top of the Jeep and start twerking?
For likes. For likes.
And her father, her father and mother was together. They're like, yo, I don't, you know, she was young. Nah, your daughter was a fucking promiscuous bitch, man.
She embarrassed her parents to death.
Man. And then she falls off the fucking Jeep and the fucking fire truck hit her.
She
That's
had
what
to call
happened.
911.
That's what happened.
Yeah, word.
She was twerking and the Jeep was turning. Why would you? She get out on the sunroof and start twerking on the Jeep for what? While her friend is filming. So you ultimately filmed her death.
And Mosai's having a lot of these things go viral because it's like the Mosai had these judgments being shown.
But
Crazy,
then,
bro. Shit is crazy, man. You twerking on the fucking top of a Jeep just to get deleted. Just to fall off and get hit by a fire truck, run into a rescue of some burning building and shit. You know what I'm saying?
what? I bet she won't do it again.
Of course she knows. She's in the right state of mind. She's in the stroke.
Now I know. That's what I'm saying. She dead.
Amos chapter 3 verse 6, it says, shall a trumpet be blown in the city and the people not be afraid?
We blowing that trumpet now, man. We blowing that trumpet, warning you of the destruction that's coming, of the death, destruction, and the mysteries that's coming, man. It tell you in 2nd Ezra 8:50, for many great measures should be done to them that the latter time should dwell in the world because they have walked in great pride, man. You got 2/3 walking in great pride. Esau is a proud Damien already, so we ain't talking about Esau. We talking about the 2/3 you Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans that's proud, man. Walking in great pride, man. You got nothing to be proud about. You in captivity. We saw the book chapter 3 verse 8. We are yet to stay in our captivity. You got a birth certificate let you know you a slave. You got a social security number let you know you a slave. You got a driver's license let you know you a slave. So what you have to be proud of? You living in the bayous, the ghettos, you know, struggling with your bills. Why be proud? And if you do got little money, hey, riches grow wings and fly away. Yeah, bro.
It says, shall there be evil in a city and the Lord have not done
That
it?
word evil means bad time. And of course the Lord have done it. There's nothing being sanctioned without the Lord having his, there's nothing being happening without the Lord sanctioning and having his approval. You gotta understand that, man. But to these Christians, God is love. That's the devil doing it. Yeah, sure, the Most High give him the okay to do what he do, but guess who's giving the sanction? The Lord. Yeah, bro.
Yep. It says, surely the Lord power will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants, the prophets.
The Lord reveals his secrets unto his servants, his prophets. Yeah,
I want to say something because you just mentioned how the Lord is the ones who basically give the orders, you know, for the angels and demons to carry out their acts. So Esau could grasp the concept of, oh, we want the top boss, we want the kingpin, because since he gave out the orders, he's the one that's going to get charged. Just like, if I'm not mistaken, I think I think his name was Charles Manson, right? He's never physically killed nobody, but because he had followers, right? They charge him to say, well, you the one that they was following, so they have the concept of, I want the kingpin, because he gave the orders, but they can't accept that the Lord gives the orders for the demons to do his bidding.
Yeah, but I understand you saying Charles Manson, he didn't do nothing. He didn't lay hand on nobody.
I know.
But he ordered the killers.
Yeah.
So Sharon Tate was a nice actress back then in the days, but the most I had it out for, and she was pregnant. And they gutted her like a pig. They gut that bitch like a pig.
Yeah, 1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 6. The Lord killeth and maketh alive.
That's right. The Lord
That
killeth.
was working.
Yep.
Lord did it.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, no, because the family might be like, you know, she was this, she was that.
I saw the video.
In the eyes of the Lord, this just had to go.
I saw the video. I saw the video on YouTube like 2 nights ago. Matter of fact, I think it was Thursday. I saw it where she was twerking on the video. Where she was twerking with. She had I mean, she was a bad looking chick. She had her little weave, you know what I'm saying, little braids and everything. But what would possess you? I know what possess you to do it. What would make you do that? The most I put the spirit on you to do it. You was drinking, fueled with them demons, drinking. Now every time you drink, them demons fuck with your mind. When you drinking, the demons fuck with your mind. That's why it's called wine and spirits. When you drink, spirits come with that, man. You just got you drink excessively, that's when the spirits fuck with you. And she got on top of the goddamn Jeep, started twerking. The dude turned, she lost her footing. She was twerking, she lost her balance. And at the same time, the Lord was allowing the fire truck to come by to put out a fire in.
Whoop. Right on time.
Ran that bitch over, bro.
It says the Lord killeth and maketh alive, he bringeth down to the grave and bringeth up.
That's right. The Lord killed them. The Lord did that. When you go to Deuteronomy 32 verse 39, the Lord tell you that he wound, he killed, he make alive. And there's nobody can deliver you out of his hand, man. If he wants you dead, you dead, man.
The Lord maketh poor and maketh rich. He bringeth low and lifteth up.
That's right. The Lord can make you rich, he can make you poor. He can give you riches and take them riches right away, man. He can make you poor, whereas you only receiving your daily bread. You know? Well, you ain't that poor. You poor, but you receiving your daily bread. You got a job and you live paycheck to paycheck. That's still poor, but you getting your daily bread. You got a job. Then the Lord can make you as usual. You're begging in the street, eating out of garbage cans, homeless, dirty, out of your mind, living on the subway station. Everything is of the Lord, man. And that's a fifth thing, the fullness and hands of the Lord. Like, that happening to you, man. You don't want that to happen to you, man. You lose everything. And a lot of these men go out there and reach for women, man. Be in that situation because they was in love and got hurt. It is what it is.
He raises up the poor out of the dust and lifted up the beggar from the dunghill to set them among princes and to make them inherit the throne of glory.
And that's the elect. Start with the elect. Being joint heirs with Yahweh Shah.
You can have a whole nation down and a whole nation up. These Edomites are on top of the world right now. There was a point where you had them on a fucking foot. Now, that switched.
Now, we under their foot.
There's certain times where I'm driving in these rich neighborhoods in Westchester County, and I'm just seeing some of the shit these devils got. I'm talking about a big ass house on the beachfront. I'm like, man, the most I did this to these fucking rats, and that's what he's gonna do for us, man. So all the stuff that we talk about, the Lord's gonna do it for us, bro. Yo, bro, there's certain Edomites out there that they rich beyond your fucking belief, man. And that's the low of the Most High, right? So when the Most High looks at old people, bro, forget about it, man. We're gonna have planets, we're gonna have all types of Indian rulership, endless peace. I mean, that's the thing about this society, too, like, brother. You can't never have true peace. You only have like temporary moments of relaxation, but eventually it goes back to just shit you're worried about. You might take your vacation, go somewhere, but in the back of your mind, you'll go back to work.
Yeah, it's only gonna last. It's like I said, I never was happy. I had times of joyous moments where I was laughing, having a somewhat good time, but never happy because in the back of your mind you know that this shit is temporary. that at any given time, you know the Lord's gonna bring judgment. So there's nothing to be happy about. There's nothing to be all in awe about. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna laugh and joke about something at a time and smile and you know, somewhat will be joyful for a moment, but it's back to being under the curse. It's back to being in a heavy spirit. It's back to being your old self, man. That's it, man.
Ecclesiastes 7:2. It is better to go to the house of mourning than to. Let me read that again. It is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting, for that is the end of all men. And the living.
Some other camps to read the scripture because whenever it's summertime, we post some videos of barbecues and shit going on. But there's no sin against that. But here's the thing. What's the message you're trying to portray to Israel? Right? You're trying to portray a message that this thing is about the scriptures. Or you want to portray a message that this thing's about birth.
Right. And having fun.
Yeah, and that's what these guys do to promote these camps. It's battle rap videos, it's barbecues, all type of birth parties and shit like that. That's not what this thing is about. When you come in the truth, it ain't about birth, man. It's about catching hell.
And suffering.
You do have your times of birth, but it's temporal. Okay?
You have times where you having a good time with the Akam. You may have a good time. You may go out, go fishing, whatever you do, man. But that's a joyful moment. But that's a joyful moment at the minute. But when that shit is over with, you going back to your job the next day. You know, or if you on vacation, like the elder said, you're going back and you on your vacation. You know, what's your limit? 2 weeks, 3 weeks? If you don't split it up, it's the whole 3 weeks. You know, within 3 weeks time, that should go. And you know what? The Lord have it where that should go like this. It fly by.
Yo, bro, when I went on a vacation trip to Jamaica, couldn't truly enjoy it because at the time I was doing this gig economy work, right? I was doing Lyft. And the thing with Lyft is, you know, yeah, you have your autonomy in terms of when you want to do it, but there's no vacation pay. There's no
On your own.
time off. Yeah, so when you go out, you have to have bread stash, bro. And I could not enjoy the trip because my whole mind was like, man, my car needs repair. I'm gonna need to do haulage rides. So I was on vacation with the same time sure stuff.
Yeah, because you know, with
So
Lyft,
that's just a trap in itself. Like it really, take it from me, bro. As I did the gig economy stuff for a number of years, it is a side hustle at best, bro. If you make it your primary source of income, it's only a matter of time.
you're gonna fail because eventually your car's gonna break down.
All that wear and tear.
Yeah, it puts a lot of wear and tear in your vehicle, and then this is the thing about it, right? You might be like, well, I work when I want, but there's gonna come a point where you get forced to work because you want to go out there and work, but if there's no work, you're fucked. Like, so there's times I'll go out there, and then the rise just is not there, it's not hitting. You know what I'm saying? Now, guess what? Since you didn't make that much money that day, the next day you're gonna have to, you know, when you
Double it up.
even if you wish you want to go home, you're still gonna have to keep working. You know what I'm saying? So the best bet, bro, get you a 9 to 5 and keep the gig economy stuff in the back pocket. Keep that shit in the back pocket. God forbid you lose your job, you fall on hard times.
You got something.
You got something to say. Look, I can run out there and make some cash. You know?
Other than that, man, I mean, them side jobs, man, is good.
That shit was making a lot of brothers uptight years ago.
The apostle said that. You know,
Had to have that conversation after camp. Like, bro, you can't be doing this shit.
you gotta get a legit
Bro.
job.
You gotta get a legit job. Because here's the shit. Oh, I don't want to work for Esau. When you're in the gym, brothers who are working for Esau holding you up. You know what I'm saying?
Either way, doing the side job, you still working for Esau.
Working that too.
Who owns this? Who owns this? Who owns
Well,
this?
the scriptures tell you. Right. The scriptures tell you. We're gonna go to the enemy for one of all things. So, but that was a very pivotal moment in my life because when I came back, I was like, I gotta get me a real job with the man of years. Like in 1 year, the Lord blessed me with a job, making 6 figures, bro. So.
Ecclesiastes 7:2. It is better to go to the house of mourning than to go to the house of feasting, For that is the end of all men, and the living will lay it to his heart.
When you're in the house of feasting, you're not thinking about the Lord coming back. No. If everybody's doing good, you're not really like thinking about the kingdom like that. You're like, it's good right now.
Everything is over.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's great. If you was a millionaire on some yacht somewhere, you're like, you just chilling. Nothing really burdensome on your mind.
Fishing, or you got somebody fishing for you.
You probably got some IG models on your yacht, blowing you and shit, chilling. Next thing you know,
The tidal wave come. Destroy your fucking yacht, man.
nah, but the point is, when you in that spirit, bro, you're not urging, you're not begging for the Most High to come back.
Of course not, bro.
When your back is against the wall and shit, and you know, the first thing that comes to your mind when shit goes south is just like, yo, Lord, come back. You know what I'm saying? So it's better to be in the United States. You're gonna be yearning for the time to come back. You think Floyd Mayweather's giving a fuck if the Most High come back right now?
Of course not. We
He's
enjoying
in
this
his
life.
Maybachs and shit like that, traveling the whole world. You see what I'm saying? So the Most High don't want us in that spirit. That's
He
why
can
the
get
Heavenly
it.
Father keeps us content.
But he can get it to. He can switch his cars up 8 times in one day. He made different cars.
You got 100 cars, bro.
You got probably more than that.
You are one person. You got 100 cars.
Now I seen Derek Jeter.
And I'm pretty sure he's not driving all of them.
Nah, no. Derek Jeter had to have a car collection. We all know who Derek Jeter is, the baseball player that played for the Yankees. Yo, he went to his garage. He has a big ass mansion, right? And he has a big garage, over 250 cars in it. Cars.
St. Lino, wow.
Check it out. Yeah, going back to cars, custom made cars, going back to the 30s. You know how the cars in the 30s look? This is my favorite right here. I won't drive it. It's drivable, but it's only for show. You know, you got this Mexican
Sell
in
that
it.
shit too.
He bought some money for it. He paid man money for that shit. And then you got the Mexican in there, you know, maintenance of the cars and everything. But he's a Jake himself, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, but he was, you know, I'm quite sure he paying them good, you know, I guess. I don't know. I don't know that, you know what I'm saying, like that. You know what I mean? But, how can you drive all, you got over 250 cars. How can you drive them cars, man? You only can drive one car at a time. Why would you waste all that money on them different cars, them cars that's sitting there? And you got people, you paying people to maintain them cars. Keep the battery going, keep everything afloat, you know what I'm saying? You have a car sitting for a while, the battery's gonna die. It's
You gotta start it up and shit.
Yeah, so you got people that's, he had a couple of Mexicans there that was, you know, maintenance in the cars, man, keeping the cars, you know, working, you know what I mean? To turn the engine, turning over, you know what I mean? I'm like, okay. He living.
And you know what, bro? You know, you gotta give credit to the apostles. I was thinking about it because the apostles could have ran up for that thing. You know, pay me this and this, that, and the third, and make sure you pay it. The apostles go, when you come to Great Mills, somebody gonna shake you down, shake your pocket down. How much you making and shit like that? None of that stuff happens.
Like, yo, what you got in your pocket?
Yeah. Give 30% right now. They don't do anything like that. You know what I'm saying? And technically, the apostles, according to the scriptures, they don't have to. You know, they don't have to work. They still work. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying, like, these other camps, they taking advantage of this, bro. Like, willing, bro. Like,
And
they
they
have
say,
a conscience.
them donations, you see the videos?
You heard about Kanai, man? Remember Kanai? And he called that brother.
Through the pocket, yeah.
That
That was
dude that played in
NFL
the
player.
league. He played in the league. He called this guy the pocket.
In the front there.
And he fucked their business up, Kanai, man. And that's the type of nigga this nigga Kanai,
Yeah, he fucked that dude pockets up.
he fucked his pockets and his business up. The business was they made garments and shit. Like they made the garments for the camp and all that. And they had like a whole deal and shit. This nigga Kanai don't want to work. It was either food stamps or some other shit. He just don't want to work. You gotta be fucking skeptical of a man like that because the scriptures tell you shouldn't be hating with glorious work, man. You got a grown ass man, pardon me, a grown ass man that want another man to take care of him, bro. That shit should be right, bro. In your spirit, you should be like, nah, man. If a brother help you off your feet, that's different, but you're taking advantage of that guy, man.
If the brother help you and put some money in your pocket, and like you said, get you on your feet and establish you with a job and saying, plus put money in your pocket, hey man, you owe that man a debt, man, you owe that man a service, but the most I put the spirit on that man to help you. You know, so you gotta understand that too.
But I mean, the brother can say, look, bro, you good now, whatever, but like, you don't have to pay him back. You know what I mean? Like, yo, look, I'm good, bro. I just wanted to help you out. But what Kanai was doing, bro,
It's wrong.
nigga he had that spirit like abuse the government, which fuck he's supposed to. But then you can't have that mindset towards a brother.
This guy here, he's an ex-NFL player. He got money. He got a nice little mansion. He got a nice little house. So his nickname is the Pocket.
And that's crazy because they gotta live off of that money. It's like just because I'm just making something up. Just because this brother making $1 million or $2 million a year, and I probably make like 30 something, that doesn't mean anything. He got bills just like I have bills.
Exactly.
So basically, the more money he make like that, the more bills he got.
And he getting taxed more.
And I'm not watching. I'm just making an
Yeah,
example.
of course, yeah.
Because like and then it's like the Lord put it where He have that money for a reason. You know what I mean? And I got what I got for a reason. Because I might get hard-headed I might get crazy if I have money He got. You know what I mean?
Yeah, bro. Like people that have, and you notice too when you make more money, you're like, wait a minute, why is my overhead getting more tighter? Because it's like you take on more expenses, bills. You have more money. So for certain things, you might get a bigger apartment.
You got more vultures looking at them. It's up to saying, oh, there's a headache. I'm sorry, bro.
Well, you good, my brother. But
People
like,
don't realize that. Like you say, when you make more money, you get other expenses. You know what I'm saying? You start getting other things that now you got another bill.
taxes, bro.
Now you got another.
Take care of
Now you got another bill. That you say you got another thing, but you got to pay more taxes on what you're doing.
Which most of the taxes in the United States is paid by the wealthy.
And another thing, he got that money. He got to be more cautious on how he managed that money. I might sound crazy, but it's like he got to really be on his A game.
And no, you're right, bro. And that brother, he was simple because you should have known better, but he didn't know better because he was,
trying to help out.
Yeah, and then the thing is, Kanai is like an elder. Like he's like, he's like, your perception was to be a top guy, a righteous man. So he was coming from a place of sincerity, but the Most High just used that whole situation to teach him a lesson, bro. You know what I'm saying? So
I don't think he broke his pockets, but I mean he took advantage of it.
And now he ain't getting nothing.
The dude left, and now he feeling some kind of way about. He probably fell out like, man, he was interested, man. They wicked, man. They took, you know what I'm saying?
yeah, I think they did some shit to where like he had to deal with the IUIC to make their garments, and they just said, fuck it, we're not making garments for you anymore, some shit like that. And he had spent mad money on the material and all that type of shit. It was shit, yeah.
So that could put a sour taste in your mouth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And they did that because he did that video exposing Kanai. So Nate was just like, fuck it, like we're not gonna do nothing, no deals with him and shit. And he was out of breath. He was out of breath for supporting this dude, and he was out of breath for trying to continue with IUIC. See, if you was at Great Millstone, none of that shit would have been required of you, bro. We just make some simple garments. And wait a minute, we have brothers in the camp, that will fall behind the NFL. We don't go for that brother like, yo, shit, you gotta answer me that. We don't fuck with that, bro.
Dude that was in the NFL that we met. That we met that came to.
What about that famous dude that came up to you, bro? He asked for a blessing.
Oh yeah. We ain't gotta say his name.
Yeah, but he came
He's
up.
a comedian.
I watched a video. I actually saw that nigga driving down. It was like a Lamborghini or some. It was a Lamb. He was driving down West Side Highway.
He was in that. That's in Lee Post Week. He was in the Lamb. Yeah. He had a dude in with some dreads and there was a dude in with dreads and a woman.
He was like, yo, I watch your videos. Can you put a blessing on me and shit?
That's after he got into that accident. You know what I mean?
But you wasn't like, yo, I'll give you a blessing for 50 G's. And that nigga Sakari might have did that. I was charged for praise and shit like that. So these niggas always trying to use the scriptures, something they got freely. Trying to sell something they got freely.
You was there that day, right?
Yeah, I was there. I was there when he pulled up. You know what I mean? Listen, like, yo.
He asked for a blessing. He showed respect.
And then also Gene Dill, but he stayed across the street. He didn't come on outside, but he acknowledged this and shit.
Yeah, Gene Dill, Buckley's ex bodyguard. Speaking of Buckley, that nigga turned down a plea deal. Now he's going to trial, and if he goes to trial, he's going to get life in prison. The plea deal that they gave him was what, 30 years? He was like, nah, he didn't want that.
He definitely gonna lose.
55-1. Oh, everyone that thirsteth, come ye to the waters, and he that has no money, come. Yea, buy and eat. Yea, come, buy wine and milk without money and without price.
And that's the scriptures, man. So you teach somebody these scriptures, freely receive, you freely give. You know what I'm saying? That's what that's talking about. It's a metaphor for these scriptures, learning these scriptures, and going out there and teaching these scriptures. That's what that's going into. And you got some people that will charge you for prayers. Here it is, you got brother Michael one and what is it? I think it's Troy. Thanks for him. He always put up prayers. I'm saying he don't charge nobody for him. You know, he just Madagon, yeah. Both right here. Put a prayers.
He's real fluent in the Hebrews, man.
He's very fluent in the Hebrew. You know what I'm saying? And when he come out here, man, he's very generous. He's very bubbly, but he's also he put up prayers in the Hebrew. He don't charge you. Here it is. He's very humble. You know what I'm saying? Here it is. You got people, some people in the Sakabi putting up Hebrew videos who charge you for a garment, charge you for this, charge you for that.
Go to my site to buy your GTs.
Come on, man. You niggas are fucking
Selling pause hats.
Right. Nigga, I got my pause hat on. Like real quick, that's the Apostle Gabar said. You got a prophet. You a prophet. A prophetess. You know? Yeah, bro.
Matthew 21:12 says, and Yahweh Shai went to the temple of the Most High and cast out all of them that sold and bought in the temple, and overthrew the tables of the money changers and the seats of them that sold doves, and said unto them, it is written, my house shall be called a house of prayer, but ye have made it a den of thieves.
Because what happened was, Yahweh Shai got so angry that he got violent. He went inside beating the shit out of these motherfuckers, man. He made a cotton eye tail, went inside whipping their ass, man. And you know he was strong. He was he used that spiritual power. He's strong. He went in whipping their ass, man.
Tore that marketplace up.
Beating the shit out of those motherfuckers in the money changers. He whipped their ass, man. That's the first time. That's the first and only time he got violent. Because Yahweh Shai was a peaceful man. But guess what? He went in and whipped their ass, man. What they was doing was wicked in the house of the Lord, man. And that's why he did what he did, man. The only reason why he did that. It's crazy, man. You know?
Yeah, that's what a lot of these dudes in these other camps, man, they made the house of the Lord into a den of thieves, man. All right, getting over brothers. You know, not being straight up. Hey, I seen a video. The brother was like, yeah, man, maybe it was you, Shimon. The only way these guys can make money is off of Israel, man. All right, selling merch, selling prayers, selling Hebrew names, and all these type of things, man.
No ingenuity.
Right, no ingenuity, man. Go outside of
There's
that.
a lot of other sources.
Right.
You know, you can make money. Learn how to trade, like, trade, whether it's stock options and shit like that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You can learn how to trade and learn the actual trade.
Yeah.
There's many different ways to earn. This is still the golden city. Different ways to get your bag, bro. And I manipulating Israelites, bro. And here it is, you don't thought you left the world. You're like, man, I got away from the churches. Well, they just ripping the fuck, passing that tight table around like 24/7, that tight plate. You're like, shit, we got away from that. Just to come right back into a tenfold. These niggas here, man.
It's crazy, man.
These dudes, they into making content. You got your little YouTube channel. You got the little hit the link on the bio. Merch just dropped.
And then you see on the side on their channel.
Oh, we got a
Cash
donation
App.
in the chat.
Yeah, donation.
You see Cash App or donation at the bottom. Get them likes up Cash App or either Zelle or whatever they got going for them. They always do that. It's always you'll never see that on any Great Millstone videos. You don't see no.
We got a super chat.
You don't
brother, we got a super chat.
Not only that, you don't see when any video goes up, you don't see no commercials in there because none of our videos are monetized.
They're
Man.
like the women on QVC. Some of the stuff. They're like what was that chick that passed from Three's Company?
Damn, Suzanne Summers.
Yeah, like her, man.
There it goes, bro. This is the book of 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 2. It says, feed the flock of the Most High, which is among you, taking the oversight thereof, not by constraint, but willingly, not for filthy lucre, but of a ready mind.
Not for money, but being straight up. Not for 50 look, which is money, but being straight up and that's being sincere in what you're doing and teach them the right doctrine and just be sincere in what you do, man. Not looking for money, man.
And the scripture says not by constraint, meaning like not force.
You ain't being forced out here.
Yeah, bro.
You're doing it with brotherly love, man. To act whatever from love to one, from one brother to another. You know what I'm saying? That's it, man.
Trying to work out your own salvation. But that's what these niggas are doing, filthy lucre. And the most I always expose these niggas, yes, they do it again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 10.
Yep.
Verse
6.
Yep.
6 going down is good.
Okay, so 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 6, it says, "But godliness with contentment is great gain."
Yeah, so the both sides give us enough to go day by day. He might give you a little extra to go month by month, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But in other words, not gonna make it too excessive.
It says, "For we brought nothing into this world."
Nothing carnal, that is. You know, but we did bring the spiritual in, so that works will follow them.
That's right.
And it is certain you can carry nothing out.
Yeah, you got these Hamites, these Egyptians, in these tombs bury all those treasures. Just as some other motherfuckers are gonna take it.
Just for the late 1800s, them coming.
Raid your tomb.
Rob your
Tomb raiders.
Damn. That's what that
They
game
just
Tomb Raider
robbed
was
your
about. You know what I
brain.
mean?
Yeah, it was raid. Now, mind you, they put all different type of traps and shit in there, but listen, you're not, why would you want that shit in the next life? You know what I'm saying? That's like a never-ending cycle. Like, you gotta work hard in this life, save up to carry that shit to the next. Like, when do I just chill?
That's why you know that they had an understanding of reincarnation. They figured that they're gonna receive the same bitch they had in this life in the next life. That's why they buried it
And
with
some of them thought that was required in the next life, because you had in the Greek culture, they'll put coins and shit on your eyes.
for the
That's
right.
so-
Because they thought you had to pay some Grim Reaper type shit to pass out in different parts of heavens and shit. Go ahead.
Yeah.
It says,
Dummies.
"And having food and
The fuck the
remnant."
most I want to do with money.
Right.
Go ahead, bro.
That's it, bro.
This shit is dumb. It don't make sense.
"And having food and remnant, let us be therewith content."
Yeah, you have a roof over your head, you find food on your table, you blessed, bro.
Yeah.
Right?
It says, "But they that will be rich fall into temptation and a snare."
Yeah, right. Yo, riches fuck with your mind, and riches bring a lot of pride.
Yep.
Because when people got a lot of money, they like
They
belittle
think
other
better,
people.
yeah,
Yeah,
they
they
think
think
better.
better than people. That's what
Start
happened.
talking crazy.
That's what happened with this nigga Shador Sanders, right? Because he went to interviewed these different teams, and he was like,
I ain't gotta practice. My
right,
father
right,
is
right.
He's
my
like-
father is
he's
Deion Sanders. I ain't gotta do
he's
that. I ain't gotta do that.
he was like, you know, some niggas need that money.
Right,
He's already a multi-millionaire just with college deals and shit.
right.
And Charleston White was making a good point. He was like, these might want to study niggas, and they don't want a rich nigga.
Right.
They want a poor nigga that's gonna listen to master. So,
No, it's fine.
but yo, Andrew Tate also made a good point. He was like, yo, he said it. He was like, money makes you like high-minded. Because he was just like, you know, he's a multi-million whatever dollar. He goes like, why the fuck should I listen to this guy in front of me? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
And he was
right.
like, that came across my mind, and then I thought about, what are those people that have more money? Like, what do they think of us?
Right.
These like those generational people. They must think of like just fucking ants. That's how come they can say, look, let's start a war, fucking a million people die. They're peons, you know what I'm saying?
And everything that happened to that dude Deion Sanders' son was he was so proud that he never went to none of the practice meetings and none of that. He just I don't need to go. My father's Deion Sanders.
I heard he was on some type of shit like, yo, you don't like me, don't draft me.
Right.
Nigga said, what?
Damn, bro.
Let's listen to that.
You're talking crazy.
Yeah, we don't want any team but the Browns. So these niggas made a lesson out of him. Not only you gonna go to the Browns, nigga, you gonna be the fucking fifth round pick,
Browns.
and you gonna be the last string quarterback.
Right.
So
They got like 5 quarterbacks, right?
yeah, let's teach this nigga a lesson.
I think he refused the Browns this year. I think he
Nah,
still there.
nah, you can't refuse it. You a fifth round pick. You're not even guaranteed to make the fucking team. You're a fifth round. See, when you're in the second or third, when you're in the first or second round, you gotta make the team. You're an investment. Fifth round, they can cut you out, man.
And I
They
think
really brought that nigga down.
and I think his brother ended up being a free agent that signed with
And the thing is, they was making an example because Deion think he was gonna come in there and you could go here and I'm gonna be an agent. Nope. They had to get agents. And I forgot. I think
Deion Sanders
I
wanted
think
to be his son's agent.
Yeah, he was, and then they had to just drop that and they got with an agent named Rosenberg, some sort of poetry.
Oh, so
And then they got
him?
signed.
They made him do that. He couldn't be his agent.
Yeah, he could be.
Deion was
They
running
was
his
trying-
fucking mouth off, man.
And Deion
Talking
Sanders,
too much.
You gotta know who runs shit.
Deion Sanders was always a proud dude, even when he was playing for the
But the thing with
for the
Deion-
49ers and for the
Yeah.
for the
But
for
Deion
the
can do that
Cowboys.
because he's that nigga. He's that nigga that can just do that because
He backed this shit up.
yeah, if you once in a generational, teams just want to win. They're gonna sign you. Your son wasn't that. And nigga read the room totally wrong.
Hey, this
And they
dude,
made a fucking example
hey,
out of
this
him.
dude, the 49ers, he was the Cowboys
Big money
first.
take little money
The
every time.
49ers didn't want to sign this dude, but guess what? They needed him. This dude was who pumped Deion Sanders. They didn't want to sign him
Yeah.
because, but he's a very controversial player. He would show when he wanted to show up, do what he
But
wanted
nigga
to
was
do.
putting seats in the yeah, he was putting buses in. Yeah, that
But
nigga.
he was putting.
He can miss practice and just come and lock up Jerry Rice. But you ain't gonna find nobody like that, bro.
Guess what? Then shut Jerry Rice down or shut somebody else down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and then plus he was like you said,
Swiss Army knife.
putting
Niggas
seats,
do everything.
putting butts in seats, man.
Prime time.
You know, that's why he got the nickname Prime Time, man.
He thought his son was that. And like, nope, nigga, we gonna make an example out of you and your
So is
son.
his other son good? That they got
The thing is, bro, this,
that's not signed, but he's signed, but he's not drafted.
yeah, you talking about Shador?
No, the other one.
Yeah, the Shador.
I'm Shiloh.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing with Shiloh is he's not that good either.
Oh,
But you gotta remember, like the NFL is the elite of the elite. Like that's the main thing. Like in college, you might have a few good players and shit, but okay, he's a weakness. He's a weak link. In the NFL, all the holes close up so quickly because it's the best athletes in the world.
And I'm
Even the nigga sitting on the bench is a top tier
no
athlete.
I was
Yeah.
wondering why did the Giants turn down this nigga and we ain't got this dude
fucked up the interview.
Durf.
You know what they Dart.
Dart, whatever his name is, Dart.
You know what they
Dart.
did,
Dog
bro?
is nice, right?
You know what they did?
I mean, he's nice, but he ain't better than this dude.
Yo, you know what they did? They put like a fucked up playbook in his shit. It was like, yo, figure this out. He couldn't figure it out, and they was talking about his film. And pretty much how he was looking bad on film. He was like, well, you kind of type shit like, well, if you don't like it, don't drop it type shit. And that's what I'm saying. He was too proud.
He's gonna bust ass now.
But he couldn't replays or something?
Yeah.
I mean-
but I'm gonna say this too. That shit gave that nigga a lot of fans because now you got a lot of people. That nigga's jersey sold out because you made him the underdog.
Right.
If you sign the first round, you go, man, fuck this proud ass nigga. You want him to fail.
Right.
But now you want this nigga to succeed because it's like, man, fuck this nigga.
Fucked up.
Yeah, but then real quick, it show you that they was like, okay, one dude brought it out. I was watching the TikTok video. He was like, yo, these elite teams, these owners of these elite teams, they like, look at my nigga run. Look at my nigga pass that ball. Look how far he threw that ball.
Jump, nigga, jump.
That's my nigga. You know what I mean?
I'm paid for that, nigga.
Yeah.
I own that nigga.
You think
My
he's,
nigga.
yo, Deion, you got very proud because you think these Edomites are gonna give millions of dollars out of their family business and you just disrespect them like that? We ain't in the kingdom, bro. Go ahead, bro.
It's not your right. That's why I got to
Yeah.
It says, but they that will be rich fall into temptation and a snare, and into many foolish and hurtful lusts, which drown men.
Oh, we was talking about AP, Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
$24 million in debt. It's like better off not even being rich in the first place.
I don't know how that shit happened. So he had all that money. He shot out little
They was
contracts.
spending crazy. They could do shit like, yo, let me just buy a whole bunch of plane tickets just so I can play by myself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's stupid. If he did that shit, bro,
Vince Young did that. Vince
Vince
Young did that too.
if that's the case,
Vince Young, the nigga that tried to
Oh yeah,
commit
Vince
suicide.
Young, he broke too.
if that's the case, why do that? Why don't you just buy your own private jet and fly by yourself then?
Because you know why? Jake think the more money he spends, the more popping he is. Like I've heard dudes brag about, oh, my car note is $1,000, and I'm like, you're retarded. You're bragging about your car note being high in their minds. If I'm paying $2 and change, you paying $1,000? Like you're stupid.
But let me say this right here real quick. If you want to buy a bunch of plane tickets, you can buy on a goddamn big ass 747 Bowman jet by yourself. Why don't you just buy? You got all that money. Rent some space on the runway. Buy your own goddamn plane, private private jet and get your own private goddamn pilot.
They can't afford it.
I mean, if he making that kind of money, he can afford it.
That's billionaire shit.
Right. It says,
No regular football player don't afford no private jet, bro. That's billionaire.
That's like 50,000 one way.
Wait, let me just say this right here real quick.
50,000
Let me say this right here.
Right one.
If this nigga Puffy own fucking Lear jets and shit, you know what I'm saying, then, I mean, he's a billionaire. Yeah, you right.
it
He's
says,
a billionaire. He about to go on trial Monday.
it says, and into many, it says, but they that will be rich fall into temptation and a snare,
30 years.
and into many foolish and hurtful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition.
And that's what happens to this nigga Puffy. He got too proud.
He got
doing
puffed
all
up.
doing all kind of sex trafficking, doing all kind of wickedness. You know what I'm saying? Now he turned down a plea deal of 30 years. He's 55. 65, 75, 85. He'd have been 85. He'd have been, yeah, he going to trial Monday. The trial starts Monday.
Bro, it's over.
The trial starts Monday.
He could get off. He could get off.
Technicality?
But the whole thing is people like these free throws, but free
Man,
throws are not illegal.
There's too many
Bro, but
witnesses
free
coming
throws are
out.
not illegal, bro.
I know, but guess what? I know it's not illegal, but the feds got a goddamn shit on where he's involved with sex trafficking. He ain't getting up on that shit, man. Them free throws,
The feds got you, bro. You need some.
them feds.
A-list
Let me
lawyer,
tell you
bro.
something, bro. He hired 2 more lawyers because he turned down a plea deal of 30
You know
30
what,
years.
too, bro? By the case, is what they'll do. They'll bleed him. They'll drive the case and you got nothing left.
Well, they're gonna do that. They can do that too. But check it out. They offer a plea deal to him today or yesterday, and it was all over the news. 30 years, and you done it already, so you might as well go to trial, man. And if you lose trial, you gonna get life without parole. At least you had 30 years with the chance of parole.
30 years.
Yeah, he's on,
He
bro.
already 55. He already 55. So he gonna be 85 years old when he get out. When he got off
Bro,
parole.
30 years, they gotta have something, bro.
Then he gonna be doing his dance at 85 years old.
He gonna be 85, bro.
I know. I'm just being facetious. You know what I'm saying?
But according to them,
you know,
he thinking, damn, like 85, like, fuck, I'm gonna be doing at 85.
you still got your money. You still got your riches.
Right now, I bet you Diddy was just rich, man. I wish I was never rich in the first place.
No, he true. He wish he never did what he did because he was so proud he thought he'd get away with
But
it.
money was able to.
And they were saying that, and real quick before you bring that, they were saying that there's bodies that he you know, high people are killing, murder. So you ain't gotta shoot the person yourself. You hire somebody, you fucking guilty of murder, nigga. You a murderer.
Hide for kill, right?
Yep, it says, for the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves
Many
through with
sorrows.
many sorrows.
Now he's sorrowful with them. Then it showed yesterday at his trial hearing, at the plea deal, that when he came to the place, none of his family members was there. They always there. So none of them was there. He was distraught and hurt, and he sat down and he turned down the 30-year plea deal. They say that's a plea deal. 30 years is a plea deal? That's a plea deal? Are you fucking kidding me? So imagine the trial starts, it's gonna be all on court TV and everything. Even if court TV is still out there, it's gonna be all over the media.
So I'm 50 years old, 10 years is a life sentence.
He's 55 years old.
10
30
is a
years,
life sentence.
30 years, you gonna be 85 years old, nigga. You ain't getting out, man.
That Diddy was still doing that shit all the way into his 50s. Free throws and the parties and that giant bed he had.
Enjoying himself,
He
bro.
had a giant bed, bro. Everybody just. I remember he was trying to put Chris Brown on that shit. Brown was like, ugh.
I ain't getting on that shit,
But he
man.
did end up getting on there dancing.
Yeah, but he trying to. He was like, he kept on calling. He was calling. He told 50, let me take you out, daddy. He was like, daddy.
No, he said, let me take you out shopping.
Let me take you out shopping. He called me, let me take you out shopping. He kept on calling him daddy and shit.
I ain't about that part.
He was saying that
Who's
the
he calling?
fabulous.
Oh, yeah, he's calling Fabulous.
On Drink Champs, right?
Daddy.
And then Fab was like, yo, like, we partied, like, but he was like, we ain't party. Fab was like, yo,
We
like.
ain't gonna party,
Jada
man.
was just like,
It's looking like,
yo, there's a video of Pop Smoke. You know when that shit was driving when they were doing the woo? Dancing and shit. You hear Diddy like, yeah. Niggas was just like, yo, that shit driving me crazy.
he seen Pop Smoke dances, he was getting turned on, like, man, this nigga here, man. I'm about to get in this nigga drawers, bro. Look at the back for it. You gotta close up. And that shit went quick. That shit went quick, right? Hey, bro, so with that, We gonna give all praises to Yahweh.
Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Kodash.
Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders. Lord willing, next week, I'll be right to next week. And until then, Shalom.
Shalom.